Okay, dude, have you ever gotten like just a random
spam? Oh, yes.
Spam.
Yes, I have.
I've gotten a lot of spam
I've
on my
gotten a lot of
emails.
spam.
Have you ever gotten like a random hiccup just out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Like you'll be in the middle of a conversation, you'll be like, "Yo, do you want to get some burgers?" It's like,
What's a burger?
would you like to get some burgers?
Yeah. Aren't hiccups always random though? I don't think I've ever planned
Well,
on having a hiccup.
yeah, but usually like they don't happen in the middle of a sentence. Usually it's like when I'm
do-
silent, they like, you know.
Oh.
But so, anyways, the other day I was at my Bible study at UNO, my school, and I was leading worship, and it was this like super like deep time. Of,
you're
like,
singing.
No, singing, and literally in the middle of me singing, I just let out this awkward, loud hiccup, and I couldn't control it, and it just happened, and literally like everything like. This just completely changed the atmosphere in just like one hiccup. Super embarrassing.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things are I love those moments. It's like just God has just this sense of humor where he's just like, like I'm just gonna have you hiccup right now. And you're like, dang it!
He's like, well, you never know, because maybe that hiccup is what someone in the crowd needed.
Yeah, maybe
well, someone was just like,
you know,
God, I'm gonna believe you're real. If the singer hiccups.
You know what? That's why this one girl, man, I hiccuped and she just started crying. I was like, alright.
Seriously?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, what?
I'm completely joking.
That was it.
That'd be pretty sweet though. I'd be like, alright, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you never know. Some people like the story of Gideon and how he tested God in the small areas, and God actually was willing to answer it. Maybe someone was doing.
Good. From now on, man, every time I'm gonna hiccup, I'm just gonna look around. Just be like, all right.
Just see if someone's
crying. Just like on the floor. Just like, God, I can't believe it. Next time, man. Watch out.
Any hiccup, even not during worship, you're just.
Can you imagine like somebody like doesn't believe in God so much that they need some random person just to hiccup for them to believe in God?
It's a small thing to ask.
It is.
It's a really easy thing for God to answer.
But like, how do you come up with that? Like, like that guy. I want him to burp in the middle of his sentence, and then I'll believe you're real.
It's great.
Yeah.
If God obliged, that would be wonderful. Because then, you know the testimony story of like, you know how I got saved? I used to be a drug dealer, and I used to do all these things, but one day I was like, God, if someone hiccups, I'll turn my life around.
It's a life-changing hiccup right there.
And now I've never been the same since. That hiccup that changed my life.
And now he just cries every time he hears a hiccup. It just brings him back. He's like, God bless you. Like he like says
God,
bless you.
instead of
Every time he hiccup,
yeah.
like, God bless you.
Gosh. Yeah, well, speaking of God bless you, Gods of Egypt came out this week.
Oh, dude.
And it got terrible reviews.
Yeah, dang it.
I wanted it to be good.
I saw the trailer for it while we were watching Deadpool. And it looked sweet. This huge creatures and like the Egyptian gods.
Yeah.
Like I'm into that type of movie usually. Like, I'm a history nut. So, but then I saw the reviews. I saw a review video of this guy just roasting it for 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, probably we shouldn't watch this.
Yeah, I decided I wasn't gonna watch.
But it's unfortunate too because it's got some pretty good actors too. It's got Gerard Butler. It's got Kingslayer, Jamie Lannister, the guy who plays. And who else does it have?
The Gods of Egypt.
There's like one other. Oh, Jeremy Irons. You know Jeremy Irons is?
Is that Hawkeye? No, that's Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, no, Jeremy Irons is kind of an older dude. What movies was he in? I know he was in. You remember Aragon? Did you ever see that movie?
I did see that.
Movie was terrible, but he was like the teacher in that movie. So, do you know who I'm talking about?
Nope.
He like taught Aragon like all of this guy right here. But you can show him on the screen for the podcast.
Oh, is he Alfred? He's Alfred on the new Batman.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Batman versus. Let me see this. Let's see. I love Peter. Man, he's been in so many movies.
Oh no.
Holy. Yeah. Batman vs Superman. Yeah.
Is that Tom Hardy? Tom Hardy is starring in a new TV show.
Taboo?
Taboo.
What is that gonna be about? What's
Adventures of James Kazia Delaney builds his own shipping empire in the early 1800s. He's the main character.
Early 18. Wait, so it's gonna be like a pirate TV show?
Yeah, with Tom Hardy, which is amazing.
Yo,
who's
dude? We like 2 episodes ago. We talked about how we wanted a pirate movie,
and they heard us. Show.
Dude, did they watch this podcast?
Yes,
dude,
thank you,
we gotta
Tom
contact
Hardy.
the director. We gotta sue him.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, wait. Read about this. I'm interested. Taboo.
So Taboo is, let's see if there's any other description. We've got storyline. James Kazia Delaney returns to 1814 London after 10 years.
From what? From
after 10 years
London?
in Africa to discover that he has been left a mysterious legacy by his father. Driven to wage war on those who have wronged him, Delaney finds himself in a face-off against the East India Company while playing a dangerous game between 2 warring nations, Britain and America.
Wow.
It's probably the prequel of Pirates of the Caribbean.
It sounds super good. I mean, obviously, it seems like... Does it look... I haven't seen the pictures. Does it look like a pirate-esque movie?
No, I doubt it.
Oh, it's more of a...
It's probably like a Taboo.
Oh, so
Taboo-esque.
like... Oh, he looks like Sherlock Holmes type of thing.
I don't know. Cameras and... yeah, so that's the first post on IMDb. I forgot. Do you watch Daredevil?
I do. I saw the second
you saw
trailer.
The second trailer?
Oh
yeah. My gosh.
Super good, man.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daredevil's got a partner.
Elektra. Yeah, Elektra's interesting. I was looking her up, and she switches from being his partner to like his enemy to his partner again, and so she'll be this interesting character.
Yeah.
And the Foot. They talk about the Foot, right? I think that it's like an organization, like an evil organization. Actually, that one Asian bad guy from last season. Do you remember the Asian bad guy with like it was the red? He got like the cool like twisty. Yeah. So he's
is that the
actually
same guy.
So he's actually part of the Foot.
Okay.
And is it called the Foot? I'm thinking.
It sounds super weird. Like I could step on it.
Wait a minute. Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, but anyways, apparently he was one of the leaders of the Foot, the red guy, and it was kind of a teaser for the Foot. And dude, I apologize if I'm getting the name wrong.
It's not saying it in the description of IMDb either.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bad guy place.
Oh, you know what? The Foot is from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
Is it the arm? No, it's not the arm. Dude, the leg?
The toe? That's funny. How do you like Charlie Cox as Daredevil? Do you think he's a good?
Yes, I like him a lot. I like the way he talks.
I do too.
Like he's just like this talker that you want to listen to.
Wait a minute.
The hand. It's the hand.
The hand?
The hand.
What did you say? The arm at first?
I said the foot, the arm, the leg. It's the hand.
It's the hand.
I don't know. I think of the hand.
So, one small thing. Vincent D'Onofrio, the guy who was the Kingpin.
Yeah.
He is not in season 2.
What? Why?
Sure.
So that just means Kingpin's not in season 2.
Yes. Which is a bit of a bummer.
I thought he would be.
Yeah, because so when it checks the amount of episodes that they're in, like Charlie Cox is in 26 episodes, and Vincent D'Onofrio is in 11 episodes. So.
Well, was he in every single episode last season?
He was in every one except 2. There's 13 episodes.
Well, they showed him in the trailer though. Did they show him in the first?
Probably a flashback of season 1.
They wouldn't show him.
I
in
mean,
the trailer
maybe
of season 2
if anything, he might show up at the end of season 2 or something. But I don't think he's not going to be a primary role in it.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. But man, that's such a good show.
It is.
I'm super excited.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
That, and then House of Cards comes out. Like, House of Cards is March 5th, and then Daredevil is March, 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's going to be a good month.
Yeah, dude. I need to catch up on... And The Walking Dead's every week. I wish you watched The Walking Dead, man. We could talk about Walking Dead on this show. On this podcast.
Good. I told you I just tried watching the most recent episode.
Oh, what?
Yes, it was.
Where are you at right now?
I watched Carl get shot in the face. Spoiler alert.
Carl got shot in the face?
What?
When?
You see his son get shot in the eye.
Wait, what season are you on?
I'm talking about the most recent episode.
I haven't seen it yet.
Shoot, you didn't see that?
No,
Carl
dude.
gets shot in the eye, man.
Oh.
Yeah, he's the governor. Governor, yo.
Okay, he gets shot in the eye. Okay.
So,
well,
and he isn't dead.
thanks for letting me
You're
know.
welcome. But it was just like, I don't know. I feel like the script just feels like formula to me, where it's just like, what's gonna boost our ratings the most? They're like, shoot Carl in the face. They're like, dude, that's crazy. I don't know. It feels more formula as opposed to.
I think it's because
natural
you
progression.
haven't been into the characters for a while, so you don't care about Carl anymore. Okay, but if you're somebody like me who has been like consistently watching it, obviously not though because I haven't seen the last 2 episodes, but then you would care more about Carl and it'd be a bigger deal and it wouldn't just seem like a formula. Because ultimately every TV show is a formula like that.
Yeah, but there's such thing as doing a formula for the sake of ratings and the formula for the sake of.
I don't think they're doing it for the sake of ratings. They get the best ratings out of any show. Like
exactly. I just feel like they need to keep one-upping themselves.
No, they don't. I mean, every show needs to one-up themselves. That's what makes it interesting.
I don't know. I feel like as opposed to it being a love for the project, I feel like they're just like, man, how do we...
I don't think so. They wouldn't make a spin-off if they didn't love what they were doing.
That's just a catch. For me, it's just like, I don't want a prequel to Walking Dead while Walking Dead is still on. Like, that's the way I look at it. I'm just like, sure, if Walking Dead's over, and they're like, man, I want
But
Walking
Dead, like, just specifically skipped a lot of what's interesting in a zombie
Yeah, I
movie.
know, but just wait until Walking Dead's done. And then once everyone's like, we need more Walking Dead, they're like, The Walking Dead prequel. Fear the Walking Dead.
It's brilliant. So when The
Why
Walking Dead's
watch-
not going on, the Fear of Walking Dead is going on. So
it's just
Walking
dumb.
Dead all
I don't
year
want
round.
zombies all year round. They've bit off more brains than they can chew.
They're different feels, the two shows.
I haven't watched the other one, but I've heard nothing but good about it.
It's really good.
I fear that it's probably better.
It's not.
Not yet.
No. I don't like the characters as much yet.
Really?
Yeah. But then again, I didn't like the characters at first. So.
Well, speaking of not liking characters, in history there used to be... So what are we talking about today, David?
Today we are going to talk about Black History Month.
Yes, and neither of us, disclosure, neither of us are black. And we have no history of being black either.
You wearing a black shirt?
I've wore it for a month.
I hope you haven't been wearing that for a month.
I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't smell like it, so I can't tell.
Yeah. But, so, what we're going to start doing every week on this podcast is towards the end of the show, and I guess this week, though, I feel like it's going to be a longer conversation, so we're just going to do that for today's theme. But towards the end of the show, we are going to debate something.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to call it the Devil's Advocate. And so the way it's going to work is it's going to be Gino defending an opinion, and I'm going to be attacking an opinion like I do so well.
Yes, you
And
do that so well. It's great.
It's not going to be a debate necessarily. It's just going to be Gino
trying to
dodge my bullets, per se.
Yes, this is fun.
And so this week, Gino is going to try to convince me that we should not have a Black History Month. Would you like him to make your opening statement?
My opening
My
statement.
friend.
Yes. All right. So, disclosure. In the words of Donald Trump, I support black people more than anyone else on this stage. Gosh, I hate him.
I thought you were about to say, like, disclosure. I dated a black girl.
Oh yeah, I could have said that. I have dated a black girl before.
Just to be like,
I have used that as my like when people are like, "Oh, Gino, you're so racist," just because I make some funny jokes. I'll use a joke no matter what it is, and people are like, "Oh, that's a racist joke. You must be racist." And I'm like, "No, I dated a black girl."
What if somebody made
racist.
What if somebody made fun of white people?
I wouldn't care because I'm not interested in pulling cards.
We'll see next time someone makes fun of white people. See how you react.
I don't care. People make fun of white people all the time, and then we are expected not to respond. And for me, I don't respond because I don't give a crap. It's just like, oh man, regardless if you like white people or you don't, if I find out that you don't, it's just like, what difference does it make? We're having a conversation. We're doing this. Like, you continue to do it. Like, you don't have to like me while we talk.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'm not gonna get up. I'm a baby about it. Like, I'm not gonna force people to have a history month about white people just because I get defensive about my history.
So I was looking up like debates, or looking up points about Black History Month and why people shouldn't do it. And there was bad arguments on both sides. I'll tell you this. Just spoiler alert.
So what are the arguments that you heard?
Most of the arguments were like, we should have a White History Month then. Like, shut up. Like, we should have an Asian History Month. We should have a Jamaican History Month. Like, they don't even have nearly enough information.
They don't have a history.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad arguments. But go ahead and...
So what was your favorite combating argument that you were against, that you read?
That's a good question. I think a good argument against Black History Month is division, which is probably the argument you're gonna make. How people believe that Black History Month divides us as a country, and if we are to truly move on from the past, we need to move on from the segregation. And they believe Black History Month just segregates history into one category or another, but we're all Americans, so it should just be a part of regular American history.
America.
So, and that's a good argument, and I that's probably your argument.
I don't know. You stated me in my conflict.
So it's a good debate strategy to say your opponent's argument before they say it.
Exactly, because then
because then they're like, well, yeah.
Is mayonnaise an instrument? But okay.
Let's just
say
establish
your stance on why?
No.
Okay.
Okay. I'm attacking, man.
You're just gonna attack.
I have the easy job.
Okay, so what were you gonna say?
I would like to say that neither of us, I don't think you have taken like a debate class like ever.
No. Well, I've debated in a class, but I've never.
I've debated enough to know how debates work, and I've seen the presidential debates, except the most recent one.
The most recent one taught me how to debate in the most ethical way.
Oh yeah, you just gotta follow how Donald Trump debates. Make blank statements and point to your polls.
I have the best polls ever.
Like, what about this poll? That poll is false. Fox News.
I don't trust Fox. Essentially, it was just like,
Megyn
if it
Kelly.
says bad, if it's bad about him, he's like, I don't trust that review. And if it's good, he's like, look at this poll. Obviously, I'm huge. So dumb.
Yeah, but so neither of us have taken a debate class, so if we do not use the correct debate tactics, I'm sorry. Don't get angry because
we are not masters
not
at the
something
subject.
That's not something to be angry about anyway. Like, if you're getting angry about it, like,
if you're getting angry about
you
us,
can come on the show. We can give a little therapy session.
Yeah, we could have you come. Yeah, like Dr. Phil. We'll bring on Dr. Phil. Be like,
right?
No,
we
Frank,
can bring on Dr. Phil.
Deep down, you're not a monster.
You're a good person.
Okay, so
why did I say Dr. Phil in a Donald Trump voice?
I don't know. I just gotta let you slide with it.
All right.
Okay, so do I personally think that Black History Month should be gone?
Do you personally think?
Should I say what I actually think, or should I just have an argument for today?
I think you should say what you actually think.
Say what I actually think. Okay, so I'm not like every day before I go to bed, I'm not contemplating, gosh, I hate how there's Black History Month. That's not what keeps me up at night.
Oh, yeah.
But
I am.
Are you?
I think
Except
about it
you think
night.
that it should be here. And so you just sleep about how
every night. I'm like, man, I'm so glad it's here. I'm so glad it's Black History Month. Every night.
But when I hear about it, I don't know. It doesn't even anger me. It just, I don't know. The way that I look at it is like, if you kind of already said the point, but like if
Yes, I did.
if throughout the entire, like, I'm totally okay with learning about Black history. I'm totally okay with emphasizing the things, like the stories from people coming from where they were and learning about it here. But I don't think that it has to be designated to 1 month. I think that if we're going to learn about Black people history, we should learn about it in the timeline of history. So it's just like, if in the 1800s, I'm not good at history, so I'm just going to say some random stuff that makes no sense. But like, let's just say in the 1800s, that's when slavery started, and then we started bringing them over into America. Then, while we're talking about history in the 1800s, bring that up. And then if in the 1900s, Martin Luther King talked about this, then while we're in that timeline space, talk about it then. I don't feel like we need to jump out of the timeline and say, okay, now here's a Black section, and let me tell you all of the good facts about it. If we're going through history, let's go through history. Let's not go through a different sect of history just for the sake of showing equality, because by showing a favored section of equality, it automatically contradicts with what it's trying to stand for. Boom.
Okay, so you think that an extra month focused on Black history gives them almost like an advantage. So it's no longer equality.
Yeah.
I would say that that's false. I don't think just because there's a focus of 1 month, it gives them an extra advantage. And I would say that because well, first of all, I guess I'd establish.
I miss every time.
Yeah, you miss every time. They have no idea what you're talking about either.
I just threw a cup at the trash can.
Am I allowed to distract you while you're giving your points too?
No. No, you're not. But I'm allowed to miss you because I'm the devil's advocate for you.
No, you're not. I'm the devil's advocate for you. Dude,
okay.
I'm attacking you right now.
Okay.
You are ugly. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. This haircut is just awful.
You look good, man. But so the foundation of my argument is the fact that I think personally that the mistreatment of Black people is our biggest failure as a nation.
No, I disagree.
I would. So let me.
Okay, make your point. Make your point.
Because
I won't interrupt you.
Because all throughout history, we have displayed the mistreatment of Black people, and it started off with slavery, obviously taking the slaves, which by the way were sold by Black people. It wasn't white people just capturing them.
Samuel L. Jackson clearly showed that in Django. He was the master.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about in Africa.
No, okay, good.
The black people and Africans helped the white people capture other Africans. So it wasn't just like white people, but obviously there were still bad people.
Yeah,
the white people.
Obviously.
But so slavery, obviously, and then that turned into Abraham Lincoln's time, where it was two-thirds compromise, where Africans were considered 2/3 of a human. But then slavery was abolished, but Africans mostly just still couldn't vote because there was like stupid requirements for them to vote and all these crazy stuff. And then later during the 60s and 50s, there was like huge rampant racism in the South. Black people were getting lynched, getting killed. They were blowing up Black churches, all this terrible stuff. They were considered second-class citizens. Mm-hmm. And now finally, just in the past 50 years, they have actually been considered part of being true Americans. And I think our mistreatment of Black people is one of the biggest failures that we've made as a country. And so I think just like how we set a time for Christmas when we remember Jesus' birth, it doesn't mean that Jesus' birth happened on that day. It just means we need to set apart a time to remember something that was important.
But that's a holiday. It's not a history section.
Well, I think it's the same concept. It's the concept of making something important by setting aside a certain time to do it.
Okay.
So I think setting a time in February. Now I'll let you know it. And growing up in high school, Black History Month didn't really mean anything other than the fact that it was called Black History Month. I mean, we learned about Martin Luther King and civil rights movement and the slavery in the 1800s. We learned about that all year. So yes, Black history is already integrated into our everyday curriculum. It's just the fact that this is the month where we look back and remember the failures of our nation and learn from it in the future.
Okay. So, I would say, for me personally, where I would feel like we were
bigger form of a failure, I would say it would be the way that we treated the Native Americans. I would say that was a bigger fail than
I don't think so.
Because we came to their place. We said that this is our place, and we killed them for it. And then we gave them different...
Literally every single country was founded on that. Somebody taking land.
But that doesn't make it right. Just because
it doesn't make it right, but I'm talking about failures of our country.
Yeah. But I would say that is a big failure because we came in, we have this glorified thing of what America stands for.
When viewed with every other country, though, it's not a failure because basically every other country has done that.
But just because everyone has done something doesn't make it right. That's like saying, well, everyone sins, so sin is okay.
But it's just the fact that America's history for black people is different. I know there was other countries that had slavery, but the way that America has treated black people throughout the history is way different than other countries. And I would say we stand out in that failure.
I would disagree because I feel like everyone had slaves, and it was a common practice, and the only reason that it's emphasized and the only reason that riots and mistreatment came about was because the idea of freedom came. The idea of people don't need to be treated less. The idea of America being a free nation. That is what caused the riots, so that's what caused the mistreatment to escalate. So I wouldn't say that, like, I mean, everyone else would have done the same thing, and if any other country would have promoted the idea of freedom while slavery existed, the same exact thing would have happened.
You don't know that.
Yeah, because once people get the idea of I could be a free person, they're gonna start fighting for that.
I don't know. I think
like
the mindset of America is partially what caused that as well.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So if any other country had that mindset,
but they didn't. That's the thing, though. That's what makes America and our past failures because we have this mindset.
The mindset of we can be free, we can be one. Each person matters. So that thought triggered into black people, and they're like, well, why can't I be free? So if another country had that same thought process, the same mistreatment would have existed because the slaves would be saying, Master, I can be a whole person.
But you just said this is an American mindset, and now you're saying every other country would.
Well, if you're going to make the argument that every other country can have a mistreatment just because every other country does it, then so can I.
I don't know what you mean by that.
So you're saying that the Native American mistreatment isn't as bad as the black because every other country has done that.
Yeah, and also the fact that the Native Americans were very violent. A lot of them were, and a lot of the killing of the Native Americans for the fact that the white people they settled there and they were defending their land.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I'm not saying that what they did was good.
That we went to them and we were like, "Oh, we want this land," and they didn't want it, and so we just kicked them out.
For sure, but technically they weren't American citizens.
Well, that's totally racist. They were here first. That's like, okay, so just picture this.
Well, technically, yes,
a modern version of this. There's a country that, let's just say we haven't discovered the entire Earth map because we haven't gone into space. And there's this nation, and these people just come over into America. And they're like, look, we found a continent! And then they were like, hey, this is our land. And they started killing Americans. We would treat them like, these guys are clearly immoral and terrible people. But because it's not happening to us, we don't think of it as that bad. But that's exactly what we did to Native Americans. They had an established homeland, and we came in and said, whoa, look, we found a continent, it's ours! Mm-hmm. And we took it from them as if everything was okay. And that's terrible.
I'm not arguing that it wasn't bad. It was terrible.
But the point
but the fact is we weren't America back then. We were still a colony, and we're talking about black people who were American citizens and the mistreatment of our own citizens.
Mm-hmm. Well, even like when I think it was Jefferson, when he was president, which is more of a recent time period, he, like, I don't know if you've ever heard, but like a lot of Native American people don't like to use the $20 bill or whichever one he's on. Just because.
Are you talking about Andrew Jackson?
Is it Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. So they don't like to use it, and just because of the way that he treated him, and that was more of a recent.
He was the Manifest Destiny president, all about moving into the West.
Exactly, and so that was like we were America at that point, and we enforced our will on them at that point.
Yeah,
and we still it was terrible for that, and we mistreated them. So I would say that the mistreatment of them is just as equal, because we had values, we had been established as a free country, and it's just like, we're still going to take it, guys, but here, don't worry, we're going to give you this land. And then we gave them this land, and then we're like, oh, we're going to shrink this land, or we're going to move you to this land, because we just found oil here, or we just found this here, and we just
Yeah.
And I don't want to sidewind on like because we're supposed to be talking about Black History Month, but like.
Well, no, it's a good point because I did say that it was I did say it was one of our biggest failures, and
Yeah.
I think maybe at one point I said it was our biggest failure.
Yeah.
And maybe
Besides
I should go back on that and say it is not our biggest or one of the biggest. I still don't know if I think that is a bigger problem than the treatment of our own American citizens, Black people, because once again I feel like the foundation of every country you see something like that.
Yeah.
And I would totally be okay with learning Native American history for a month.
If we had a month off.
If we had a month for that.
So
I would totally be okay with that too. And so we go back
for
to
me,
my
yeah,
point then.
yeah. So for me personally, though, I don't know. We don't have a section on World War II. We don't have a section.
Yeah,
of,
we
like,
do. Not a month.
Once we
learn
reach
about
that
it.
in the timeline, like if we start, let's just say 1800s to the 2000s, if that's your history class, we have the section on World War II.
Yes.
Once we reach the 1940s, because that's when it happened.
Right. So we do go over Black history and Native American history in regular curriculum. I said that.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
we do.
not only do we get to go through their history once, but then we get another month on top of that
Right.
that says, look, I know
Yeah.
you already talked
Because
about it, but here's why they're extra special.
Because there's a lot of things that we don't cover.
Okay, so then
about
why don't we
Black
just cover it
history.
during the timeline
Because
that we're covering?
that's not like there's not enough time in our curriculum.
Of course,
in high
there's,
school.
if there's enough time to take an entire month out for this section, then obviously.
But we
there's
don't.
enough
That's what
time.
I was saying. We don't take our time, and I don't think we should. I think Black History Month should be more of a media thing than an educational thing.
Okay, so
I
what
think
benefits?
remembering
so
as
what
a
benefits does it have?
Learning
do we
from
have
our failures.
learning from our
And
failures?
I think we learn best when we put an emphasis on a certain time of period. Because I think it's important that we look back at our failures, and like you said, Native American, the big failure of our country too. And so I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of the Native American.
So
History
for the
Month.
sake of our own reminding, we should be having Black History Month.
Yeah, for the sake of learning for our failures. I don't think we learn enough from just. First of all, a lot of people don't go to high school.
Okay.
And second of all, a lot of people don't pay attention in high school, and that's their fault. I know that. But to get the whole public of America to understand our failures and try to learn from history rather than just teaching it, I think setting aside a month doesn't make it unequal.
Do you think that people really during this month are like, man, I'm so glad that I'm so like I'm not gonna be racist anymore
No.
just because I'm going through Black History Month?
No, I don't think it's
that
not.
gonna
I don't
do
think it's
anything?
about not being racist.
So
I
then
think
what is
racist people are going to be racist no matter what you tell them.
Okay.
I think
then what
racist
is it
people
about?
can be influenced though through things in society, especially kids that are growing up in school. And if there's a Black History Month that is teaching them through the media of what we did in the past, I think it can break that type of racism.
Okay.
Not in the people who are already adults and racist. You can't change them. They're just going to be racist. But I think through this month, definitely.
Gotcha. So, what does it do? Give one good. You don't have to give it like a direct life example, but give an example of what seeing an emphasis on Black History Month is going to do, other than promote the question of why do they get their own section of history.
Well, that's funny because that question is a new question. Black History Month has been around since the 1930s.
Yeah, so why, like, I highly doubt that that's this is a new question.
I think it is.
I don't.
I don't know.
I've
So
thought
I don't
that
know
all
if
my
it's a new
life.
question.
Like,
No,
I've thought
I
that all
didn't.
my life, where it's just like, okay, like, and it wasn't like, as I said at the beginning, like, it's not like, oh, this isn't fair that they get their own, but like, it's just like, oh, there's a section here that's designated completely to one sect of people. Why?
And then you start looking into the Black history and you realize why.
So what would happen? Okay, so what would it look like if we were to have a White History Month?
I feel like that's just too broad of a spectrum.
Isn't Black History Month a broad spectrum?
No, I think it's a specific spectrum.
Shouldn't we call it Native American History Month?
Why?
Because black people are everywhere. Africa is Black history. But we don't talk about African history.
Well, no, because we're American. I guess American Black History Month.
Exactly. So we should rename it.
It's assumed. You hear Black History Month, you obviously don't know about Africa.
Yeah, but if you hear white people history, you would assume that it's not just about what?
Well, because there's a lot of white people. There's white people from Canada, like me.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is there's black people from Africa. There's black people everywhere else around the world. So why do we know that it's about American black people if we're
because it's what they experienced in America.
So if we said white people history, wouldn't people just know it's about what white people experienced in America?
Because white people weren't slaves.
Okay, but
what, are we gonna learn about like the slave owners and like their lives?
Exactly. I want to know what it was like to be a slave owner.
I just don't think that's a failure of our nation that's important for us to set aside. And I think basically our history class is White History Month because everyone in our history class that's a major
so why don't we
are white.
If black people get their own holiday and they're like,
it's not a holiday.
It is a holiday. It's a holiday on the calendar.
I compared it to a holiday just to make the point that we have to set aside a certain time to remember something. It's not a holiday though.
If black people get their own section in the calendar,
celebrates Black History Month.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
You know, okay, the Demas. They're like, woo woo, the Black History.
Okay, that's not a celebration. That's a woo woo.
That's just what else is a celebration if you're not
party,
winning?
like a party and like a tradition and stuff like that. That's like
you celebrate.
Woo, that's not a party.
Yeah,
like, that's not a celebration. I'm sure there's some people that do celebrate that, but it's not the general public.
So I'm just saying if black people get their own section on the calendar that says we're gonna talk about
it's not a celebration.
Why don't we get to call it White History 11 months?
I can't believe you're making this argument. This argument is stupid.
Yeah, that's the point of this argument. It's the fact that you're gonna combat me on my argument.
You're not even making a good argument. White History Month, you know that's a bad idea. Because there's like our textbooks are White History Month. It's not important to set aside.
So why don't we call it that?
Because
why do black people get their own section with its own title? Why don't we get our own section, our own title? I want to be entitled to a title. Why are black people entitled to a title just because they didn't have a title and when they were 3/5 of a person?
That question is so loaded. Like I don't even know how to answer it. Okay.
It was well phrased though.
I don't even know what you said.
Why are black people entitled to a title just because when they were 3/5 of a person they didn't have one?
Why are black people entitled to a title? Because I don't know.
Because when they were 3/5 of a person, they didn't have their own title. They weren't considered a person. So why are they entitled to their own title now in this?
Because they're 5/5 of a person.
They're 5/5 of a person. Well, what am I?
You're 5/5 of a person.
So why don't I get White History Month? If I'm equal, okay, this is essentially this is the original point. If I am an equal person,
yes,
and they are an equal person, why is there an emphasis on a different section of equal people? Because all that's going to do is cause people to think division.
I think division is at the fault of both people, not the original person. First of all, I think when you're saying, "Oh, it divides me because of my opinion," it's half your fault of the division.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that these people have to change when there's a division. It means there needs to be some type of agreement.
Okay.
And second of all, my original point was I think we should have a Black History Month, so we could set a time to look at one of our biggest failures as a nation. Where is that in White History Month?
Where is that?
Where is looking back at our failures in the United States pertaining to white people?
Pertaining to white people. So what have black people done against us so that we deserve our own month?
What have black people done against us? Nothing.
When they were our property, they revolted us. They didn't respect us as masters. You know what it's like to be a parent and your kids don't respect you? It's awful.
You're an awful parent if that's what you're comparing it to. Dang, man. Jeez, man. No wonder you grew up to be so interesting.
Great. You don't get this hairstyle from having a normal childhood.
But you never really answered my point after that.
What was your point? Oh, what did anyone do to white people that gives us our own section?
Yeah. What is the failure that we need to address? And first of all, you've already accepted the fact that we should separate a month. If you're saying that we should have a White History Month.
No, I'm saying if we are going to take the time to separate a month for one sort of people, it shows a bias towards that section of people. Yes, it does.
No.
Yes, it does.
Mm-mm. It just shows that they need it needs extra looking at because it's one of the failures. If it was Asian, if it was white people who had slavery, then yes, we would do
And Asian people.
White people.
Okay, so I told you about this story. PayPal, they say that they want to be a company that includes all people in all backgrounds so that everyone feels comfortable and safe working for their company. And so they started hanging the gay flag. Mm-hmm. Someone who didn't support the gay flag,
your sister, yeah,
my
you said
sister,
this last week on the podcast,
posted this.
Yeah.
And they said, you can't say that against us. So by posting something about gay people, it made someone who didn't support that out of uncomfortable in that area. So by making a stance for one sect, you do, even if it's unintentionally, you do, unless you emphasize everywhere else, you are taking a stand, I wouldn't say against it, but it does show favor for the thing that you're standing for. And
because,
America,
well, like I said before, we should show favor to one of our biggest failures as a nation. Do you want it to be called
you're
something
calling
else?
black people our biggest failures as a nation?
Our
Aren't you sure you should be on my argument?
What, you believe that the black people are the biggest failures of our nation? Is that what you're cited on?
No.
No, I was saying that the treatment of black people is one of the failures of our nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know how difficult it is to hold an argument on something that you don't really believe?
You don't believe?
Of course I don't. I don't okay, at the end of the day, I think that,
I win.
it can cause
I win.
people to question
I win.
why they don't have their own section.
I win.
But I don't think that this is the biggest issue in America.
It's not.
The biggest issue in America is not Black History Month.
I feel like the people who are against Black History Month just are stupid.
I feel like people who are for it are just as stupid.
No, they're not.
Okay, so how about this? What would happen if we didn't have Black History Month?
It wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Exactly. So why do we have it? Like, why?
Because it's important.
If it's important, then why wouldn't it matter if we didn't have it?
It's not that important. It's important, but it's not, like, insanely important.
Okay, so we could agree that we don't need it.
I think that, in a sense, it is good to know your past as a nation.
Okay.
I think that is important in a sense, but I don't think it is required.
Boom.
No, you did it.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Because you just agree that we don't need Black History Month.
No, I agree.
And that's what I've been arguing for.
Hold up.
I win.
I didn't say we don't need it.
Yes, you did. I could rewind this right now and show you the quote, and you would be just like Donald Trump and be like, no, I didn't. I don't believe that. I don't believe that source.
Okay. Well, what I mean is that it's not the most important thing in the world.
Exactly. So if it's not the most
I
important
never
thing
said
in
it
the
was
world,
the most important thing in the world. I said it's important.
So if we could agree that we don't need it, but it's not a bad thing to have it, does that make both of us the winners?
Okay.
Yes! I win.
The only reason I believe that is because right now we don't actually do anything for Black History Month. It's just like an immediate thing.
We just say it's Black History Month and people are like,
I think
yes.
we should do more than we do right now for Black History Month. But I think if we
What would
decided
you
not
do?
to...
If you were black, what would you do?
It doesn't matter if I'm black or white. I could think the same thing.
Okay, if you were white, what would you do?
I am white.
Okay, so what would you do?
I'm not going to do
This
anything.
should be a really easy hypothesis.
I don't know. I would. I mean, I think news needs to be more informational anyway.
You know what I
about
think
our
we
history.
could do is we could have like a day in the life of what it used to be like, so that people could really experience how
Well, I think
terrible
somebody
history
could make
was.
a really cool movie
No.
and bring it out, or like a documentary about Black history, and it comes out in February.
Like Django.
It's not a documentary on Black history.
It might as well be.
It's a fictional movie.
It
It's
could be
historically
true.
fictional.
I'm sure someone did that in real life.
Did what?
Shot people.
Yeah, probably.
So how about this? One last thing. If freedom had never been invoked in America and people were still slaves today, what do you think America would look like right now?
By people you mean like black people, or
If slavery was still around, what do you think America would look like today? LeBron James. He wouldn't be shooting them basketballs.
We
He'd be
wouldn't have
picking them
basketball.
cotton balls.
I'll tell you one thing: basketball teams will be like half as good.
Well, yeah, because they are on
And we
half
would
the
be
team.
half as good in the Olympics than we are now.
Yeah, it's because they have half the team. Obviously, if you cut the number in half, then we'll be half as good.
Mm-hmm.
It says nothing to do with black people.
Shut up.
Maybe you could, if you were the master, you could
I'm assuming they fill it with
send
white
someone to the Olympics. Like, you will run for me, boy.
No, it's terrible.
What do you think society would look like, though?
Oh, it'd be terrible,
It would
man.
be.
I don't know what it would look like though, because it's like modern day. I don't know, because that would mean the whole shift of the whole tolerance of today's society would not be what it is, and I feel like that would change.
Do you
everything.
think if black
I
people
just
were
don't think that would be.
Do you think that women would have the right to vote if black people didn't lose their
No, because I think the culture kind of coincides.
I agree. Do you think that Hillary Clinton would be running for president
No.
if black people were slaves?
She wouldn't even be able to talk in public. Like,
For real. She never should be anyway.
she shouldn't be allowed to talk in public because
Nope.
freedom of speech.
Yeah, but her speech is not.
It's not freedom of speech unless we disagree with them. It's not like a college student.
Well, Black History Month.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, what do you think of Black
Comment
history?
below
Comment below.
if you watch us.
And if you had a part in Black history, let us know what you you were part of.
But I don't know where you were going with that.
I don't know where I was either. Well, I win.
I mean, you know, I think that we both did a good job.
We did a good job.
I think that
I think we should
ultimately
pick
I
a
won.
more formidable argument, a bigger argument that we both disagree on, but we haven't been able to find one.
We agree on like almost everything.
Just
So
yeah,
what I'm gonna have to do is pick an argument that I actually agree with and like
take the
try to-
opposite side.
devil's advocate. That's what it's called. So
Yeah.
just do devil's advocate.
So
on
if
something.
you
So what's about next? What's an issue that we should talk
an
about? next week?
issue,
I mean, we talked about Apple last week.
zombies. Do you like zombie shows? Do you think that people should continue to make zombie movies and zombie shows?
Okay.
Because I am totally against it.
Oh, you think people should
I think people should stop making anything zombie at the moment.
zombie at the moment?
Yeah. Unless it's something that's so revolutionary that I've never seen before, it's just needs to stop.
Okay.
I can't stand it.
Okay.
I feel like it's like, oh my gosh, zombies are popular, so let's make a popular zombie show. Like, oh, you know what we've never seen before? Let's do Pride and Prejudice and zombies. It'll be huge. It's ridiculous. This is
I
like,
think
stop.
you could say that about a lot of genres. You could say that about Christian movies
You
too.
can say that. Well, no, I'd say Christian movies actually have a big market. Just no one's filling them, and when they try to fill them, they just fail at them.
Well, how many times have you seen the crucifixion story in film?
Well, yeah, I would say crucifixion films need to stop. The Passion of the Christ got it right. They don't need to make it again. Like,
I heard Risen's pretty good though.
I wonder how do you think it ends?
I forget.
Spoiler alert.
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Probably. It got actually like surprisingly for a Christian movie good ratings. On
Really?
57,
57?
which is actually pretty good for a Christian movie.
Yeah.
Like I know it's actually not.
No,
that
the
good.
market is there for Christian movies. It's just most
And
people.
it actually went up. Last time I saw it, it was like
What is the
49. Risen benefits from a lighter tone than many faith-based productions, as well as a unique take on the greatest story ever told, and a terrific turn from star Joseph Ian.
Yeah. I just think that
It's got Tom Felton, Lucius from Harry Potter.
the consensus on War Room. Did you see War Room?
I did see War Room. Did you see it?
Yes.
You didn't like it?
Hate it.
Yeah. I mean,
Awful.
it was powerful for Christians.
I don't know.
I think it was. I think it was pretty good. It
It
showed the power of prayer, which is really important.
Yeah, but it was so unrealistic. It was like, okay, it had its moments, like the Facing the Giants moments, when it was just like, we've got to win this game, and I've got to get a new truck, and I've got to have a new baby. And since I turned to Jesus, like, he gets his truck, the wind changes for his field goal, she gets a baby, and the whole school gets revival. It's just like, wow,
I think
that's amazing. Like,
I just think it goes to a narrative that's not true in real life. that God will fulfill everything that you want to happen in your
And
life.
that's just that's kind of the like.
And I think that's actually a bad way of thinking to have, because honestly, when you become a Christian, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It becomes about God's desires, which sometimes they align with your own desires.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it doesn't. So.
Yeah. So for me, my biggest moments was first the acting, but then second, like I felt like they were just trying to.
The acting wasn't bad. There was some good of them. Good actors. I only saw it once, so maybe I'd have to look at it again. But
Okay, how about this? Acting is fine. Scripting, poor.
yeah, I agree. With
Conversations just were conversations where it was like each conversation you could tell was scripted on like how can we emphasize the power of prayer, which is a good, like obviously that's their goal with the story, but it wasn't
seemed
like
unrealistic.
it didn't feel like that's not the way a conversation flows in real life. When you talk to someone who's about to go through a divorce and thinks that her husband's cheating on him, you can't just say, well, I go in the closet every day and pray, and then that wife that doesn't know anything about Jesus isn't gonna go, really? I didn't know it works like that. Like, she'd be like, okay, lady, thanks. Like, I'm gonna go now. Just because people aren't as receptive in real life to
You
hearing
don't know that.
word.
There's different types of people. She was in a really vulnerable spot at that time, and she needed like an answer.
Maybe. But I want to see a story where, what if someone tried sharing the gospel and they didn't listen? And then things didn't go their way. And how does someone, like, you know, like, at the end of those movies, it's always a good turnout.
I've
The
seen a
people
movie
are
like
always
that.
receptive. And, like, I would say the Passion of the Christ gets that right. Jesus still died. Things didn't go his way at all.
But they went his way.
Well, it is his way, but it wasn't, yeah. But,
yeah.
so David, what, do you have David's story time?
I just said it at the beginning of the show.
What was it?
The fact that I hiccuped in the middle of a...
Oh, that was your story.
Yeah, that was my story.
Oh, okay. Well, where can people find us?
Well, people can find us on Twitter at OOO Podcast or email outoforderpodcast@gmail.com.
Sounds like a good place to go.
Or,
Yeah.
what we love the most is our YouTube channel. You can just type in Out of
Do you
Order,
know? Did you see how many views we got this week?
like 5.
We got 1.
1. We got 1 view.
Thank you.
Thank
I want to
you.
know who you are. Honestly,
That one person.
if it was my view to see if the video was up. I hope it wasn't. No, but for anyone who's taking,
I don't. Yeah, what
I know that the podcast is definitely doing well, but for everyone who's taken the time to listen to us, I do want to say thank you. Like, we really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day for us to kind of be an entertainment / informative / listen to people argue part of your day. So
Yes.
thank you. And if you have any ideas or anything that you want to hear us talk about or argue about, or any news that you want us to share, or our opinions on anything, please feel free to email us or tweet us. And if you
Or
want to
comment on
star
our video.
or comment on the video, and if you want to star in one of our episodes, you're more than welcome to do the same.
Just let me know.
Just let us know. But yeah,
Probably should live in Omaha.
yeah, you should probably do that because we can't afford a plane ticket yet. We need,
Yeah.
I think, 6 views to start affording that.
Yeah, I don't think you get any money from 6 views on YouTube.
Might be 7. I don't know.
7 views.
Our budget isn't quite there. So if you want to give us a few more views, then great.
We'll start a GoFundMe. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'll never do that. All right.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yep.
And have a Temper-Pedic day.